All right, we're good to go. So I don't know if Mark or Brian, whichever one of you guys want to, I don't know where you guys want to start, but you guys go for it.
All right. Sorry, I have to click that away. Why don't we start on legislation? We'll go, or hold on. Why don't we quickly go down the meeting agenda, and then we'll go to legislation. I just have to pull that up. I apologize that I didn't have it up already. All right. So looking down the deal here, we have village planner, or actually planning and zoning. Tony, anything we can look forward to that's exciting coming out of your planning and zoning report?
Well, I don't know if we want to start off here because, recently there was on the Facebook page, a lady complaining about trying to get a permit for putting in a furnace.
Well, hold on. Maybe we should be a little bit clearer here, right? Right. This is a report from your liaison efforts with planning and zoning.
Well, so, this is I guess my report would be that planning and zoning isn't doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, like approving building permits. This is what you guys, when I said that planning and zoning is dysfunctional, it's not the people that are part of planning and zoning, it's the whole process. Is that no one here in this village understands how we're supposed to go about approving building permits and issuing, how we go about the process of getting a building.
All right, Tony, again, we've actually heard you say that more than once.
Well, we're going to hear it again today because.
Yeah, probably not.
What do you mean we're not?
Yeah, because man.
Okay.
Look, the point of this report is for you to say this is what planning and zoning did this month. Okay. Did planning and zoning do anything this month?
We didn't have a meeting, so no, there's nothing.
Okay, that's all we needed to hear then. Okay. Eric, how about you? Anything exciting we can expect to hear from the village planner?
Only thing to update everyone on is just obviously the progress of the middle school that's gearing in towards actual construction. They've done a lot of site clearing recently, which everyone's no doubt aware of. I had a couple of long conversations after getting back from my conference earlier this week and then yesterday regarding the with their Peppers construction manager. He's getting everything filed. The biggest challenge out there is, as we discussed, the water line, actually, which is kind of interesting. I know we ran into the similar issue when we simply wanted a small water line tap for our flower bed out there by the new sign MI put in. What they discovered at that time, which actually causes the schools a bit more problem. We opted not to tap our water line because the water line was deep under 161. It's nice of Columbus and ODOT, but it's a challenge that the school will have to take care of it. So there may be some more significant boring under 161 than they had anticipated to get to that tap point. So, but they're going to work that out with Columbus mostly. So, but that's pretty much where we're at.
How will that affect, or what's the status of those, like 2 or 3 properties down there that wanted to get connected to the sewer line?
That's actually a really good point, Mark, that you bring that up. I'll go back with them a little more in coordination and with the Columbus Division of Water to see if when we make, when obviously most of the work, the brunt of that work will be handled by the schools to get under there, because it's rather cost prohibitive, obviously, for either a water line for flowers or for a single house, but we might be able to work something out there since they're already doing the work. So
but it's not a water line they're looking for a sewer connection.
They're tapping. No, it's water. It's water. So that's for a big main like that.
What Mark's talking about is a sewer connection.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Yeah. I thought it was water as well. They were still on well or something.
They have water. They're just apparently on septic down there.
I'll see. That may be a similar issue. We obviously didn't investigate that during our water line connection, but that may be the same problem where it's deep in under 161 there. Taps are prohibitive. So let's see.
What you could do, Eric, is find out where the school's tapping into the sewer line at.
Sure.
That's simple. I don't think that they're able to tap in, at Farview. They're going to be tapping in down this is what they think is going to happen, is that their sewer is going to be connected at Farview. And if they're doing work around Farview, they'll be able to connect their sewers into Farview. Well, I believe that this is going to, the school is going to get connected to the sewers at Westerville Road or somewhere down lower.
Okay, well, that's interesting. We'll look at that. Appreciate it.
I commented on this, and I don't think it's possible for them to get connected into the sewer. Short answer.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
All right. Cool. Mayor, anything you're prepared to give us a heads up on for a mayor's report?
No, nothing exciting. It'll just be the basic, it'll be off the fly and something along. Yeah, no, we have nothing going on that's crazy.
Excellent. I am noticing on the packet that there's like a offset on committees to their person. If
on the agenda.
On the agenda.
That's always there, Brian. That's
Is it?
Yeah.
There was one that we got it fixed because I know exactly what you're talking about. So let me see if she can adjust it.
All right.
It's the way that it's formatted.
Yep. No, I get it. I was just throwing it out there.
Yep.
All right. So Councilperson McNamara did just text me saying that he's almost home and he'll log in as soon as possible. So we'll skip over community. I am finance, and we did have a meeting and we talked about things, but mainly more of the same. The idea is basically we are waiting to begin working with the financial advisors to move towards future revenue to financing and that kind of stuff. So then we move on to Councilperson Curl for streets, and he is not in attendance.
Hold on a second. I mean, can I ask a finance question here?
Yeah, what you got?
I'm curious as to how we're planning to pay for the community building right now. I mean, because this is, the finance advisors are trying to figure out how we can borrow money against the TIF fund. So right now we don't know how that's going to work out. So what is the financial plan to pay for the community building?
Yeah, right now
concept.
Yeah, right now there's a couple of different ideas afoot. None of them solidified yet, right? But we have started doing groundwork on issuing debt, right? Issuing a bond to do this, right? And in that process, we have begun discussing other opportunities. So one of the other things we went down is more like an asset financed loan, meaning more like a mortgage. We've also then begun to discuss a building loan. That would be a better way to say that. And then we've also begun to discuss the opportunity or possibilities of financing against future revenues from the TIF. So those are the three ideas that we are currently working with. And the role of the financial advisor will be to, finish the legwork on those things and advise us on the best option.
If you look at, Tony, the 5-year forecast over the past few years, the service on just like, okay, what if we have to take out a loan to build the building? The service to that debt has been included in the 5-year forecast for at least the past. And I know at least last year, I can't remember if it was there the year before.
I believe
but
so.
That's been calculated into our 5-year budgetary forecast.
In what fund?
It hasn't been assigned a fund. It hasn't been spent. It's just been, okay, what do we plan to make every year for 5 years? What do we plan to spend? And we would be spending on paying off the building has been included in the 5-year.
Well, again, what part of the general, if you're saying that we've set aside money in every 5-year forecast to pay the financing.
That's not what a 5-year forecast is. That's not setting up.
I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say.
I'm trying to explain it to you. So when the budget has been made, or not the budget, and that's why I'm saying not the budget, the 5-year forecast has planned, okay, what do we bring in property taxes? What do we bring in income taxes? What are our assets? What do we have to pay out? it's been figured in, oh, and we could afford our mortgage payment when we get the building, and it would just come out of, you know, our general funds. We would have to allocate it, obviously, but it would just come out of our normal revenue stream.
Okay. But the 5-year forecast, the format of the 5-year forecast is our annual budget. That's the format. And so if you're saying that it's included in that format, in the what line of that 5-year forecast has that money set aside in it?
I don't have the budget in front of me, but I know there's a line that says yes.
Can we write this down, Brian, as question number 1?
Sure. I'm actually looking at it right now, trying to remember exactly where that is, but it is included in part of it. And I think that where you would probably see it is in the balance that we carry over in the general fund. But if you'd like a more specific answer for that, I can make sure that we get you a more specific answer for that.
Yeah, I do want to.
Sure.
And as you see, I'm writing it down. This can be part of my, monthly addressing the council.
No problem.
There's question number 1.
No problem. Then we'll make sure that we have it for you, Tony.
Oh, I guarantee you will.
Brian, do you want me to email Kim for the line item, or would you like to do it?
No, go if you would.
I'll do it right now.
All I ask, Tony, is if I include that in the monthly finance committee report, that you don't ask it again. That's all I ask.
Say that again.
So if you're planning on asking that same question every month, I'll just plan on putting it in the finance committee report every month, and then that way you don't have to ask.
No, I'm going to have a question that I'm going to ask every month. It's not going to be the same question.
Oh, okay.
Well, it may be the same question if you don't give me the answer.
I just remember the old days where you had the same kind of questions you'd ask over and over.
Thank you, sir. That's all I got for finance.
Okay, excellent. Then moving right along, Councilperson Curl is not in attendance. Councilperson McNamara, do you have a report for MPCA?
Hey, can we go back to streets?
Well, Joe, the chair is not here.
I'm on the committee. I'm not the chair. I need to talk about leaf pickup.
Okay, well, this isn't a talk about things time. This is a report. So did the streets committee take any actions in the previous month?
In the what?
In the previous month, right? This is a report on what the streets committee did.
The street committee is in charge of the leaf pickup, aren't they? Oh, and the fact that we didn't have a meeting, we didn't have a meeting, but as a member of the streets committee, I'd like to make some comments about the leaf pickup. And because that's an issue, do I need, okay, I'll get with Joe and make sure Joe talks about this tomorrow or Tuesday night. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you guys want to compartmentalize it, and I appreciate that, Brian. I appreciate that. But it is you just don't want to hear it, And okay, if I could talk about the leaf pickup, the contract says. All right, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead. The contract says.
I've looked at the bid paperwork, and it says that there's supposed to be continuous pickup of the leaves, and that he's supposed to go through in mid-November and clean the gutters out. That did not happen. And he's supposed to go through and do the gutters at the end of the contract. So, so far, the guy's treading on thin ice as to actually completing the task according to the document, the bid request. So I'll give him a pass on the mid-November gutter cleaning, but he really needs to understand that he according to the bid documents, he's supposed to go through the entire gutters in the whole village.
And Tony, just as an FYI, we did that with McKinney every single year, and you are 100% correct. And we do not pay that last check until that is done. Well, if you remember right, last year, they didn't want to do it because they said it was frozen. And that was a big rigmarole behind the scenes. I don't know if you remember that, but you and I did last year, it was the same thing. But yes, you are correct. The last check does not get sent until that is done.
Well, and it's, again, I think we recently added in the middle of the month gutter cleaning.
Right,
and
we did that last year and it did, yeah, we had the same issue last year because they're saying it's, yeah, okay, yeah. And we either need to keep it in or we need to take it out and hold their feet to the fire because it was in there last year and it didn't happen last year either.
Well, to that end, I would recommend that because I don't believe that was explicitly called out in their bid. Right. So
that was the issue that
I would imagine that if we want to actually put their feet to the fire, it needs to be in the details they submit to us as to what their scope of work will be.
Well, I respectfully disagree in that it's pretty specific in the bid documents.
It's specific in the bid documents, and then they sent us here's what I plan to do for you. Well, they laid out what they plan to do for us. We reviewed that and said, yes, we will buy this. Well, so if it's not in there what we plan to do for you document, then we can't really expect them to do it.
Right, which really brings up the point that I'd like to make is that we should have never approved his bid. So, and that's where, it's one of the things that I try to pick my fights because I'm always disagreeing with everything that you guys do. This is another one of those things that I should have voted no, like I was trying to bring up in the first place, is that this guy's bid did not meet the requirements of the bid package. So it should have been thrown out in the first place. But the mayor called him up. Hold on, Mayor, hold on. But the mayor called him up and said, hey, you need to make some adjustments here and send me an email saying that you'll pick it up past that one day, because his bid, his proposal said he's going to come out on Wednesday. And then if weather permitting, that's all it said, so we're the ones that screwed up by approving this, not him.
I do believe that there was a reintroduction of Wednesday and returning until the leaves are picked up. And again, it's always weather permitting, but that's neither here nor there. We've heard what you have to say. And
did the mayor call up the other person and say, hey, you need to make this change?
I believe that their submittal did not limit themselves to one day, and so that part of the conversation wasn't necessary. But we've heard what you have to say, and now that Councilperson McNamara has joined us, welcome. We can go back and ask for any community committee update.
Well, first off, I do apologize for my tardiness. I was once again held over in the crumbling American healthcare system, but I'm here now. So MPCA was earlier this week. I read the gist of it. They are planning to award the Duck Award. Other than that, the carriage rides, from what I understand, are being planned, and things seem to be moving on that front. With regard to the community committee, sadly, there's not been a meeting recently to discuss any winter plans, so I have unusually little to report.
Okay.
All right.
That is all right. I can throw on top there, I have it on good authority that Santa will be going to the children's party today.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What time is that?
1 to 3. And it's at the Church on Jordan Road.
Okay.
We'll see if the Church on Jordan Road crumbles around Santa when he arrives, but that's a whole nother kind of question. Okay. Communications Committee, Diane, anything to report?
You're muted, Diane.
Okay, so Communications Committee, the deadline for the newsletter will be I've tried to make it the 22nd of December. I was talking to the mayor about perhaps in the first, we could January, but if we're not prepared, we could do February where, as far as the newsletter is concerned, we could do code enforcement. So it would be one of the quarterly inserts where we would insert the one page, what you need to know about what requires a permit and what doesn't, and maybe some other articles. So it seems like a little short deadline, but to do it for January. But anyway, that was the thought on the newsletter. And I'll be happy to work with whoever, any new council person that is a writer and feels like submitting. I'd be happy to hear what, but the mayor and I decided that probably the first newsletter in January would be too soon for new council people to submit. So we just will work on February for that in terms of anyone who wants to add to the first page. Does anyone have any other ideas about the newsletter? Or is this the inappropriate time, Brian, to bring that up? Should I bring that up after we go through the agenda?
I'm sorry, you caught me multitasking. I was going back and looking at the 5-year forecast. What was your question?
My question is should I ask about content for the newsletter now, or should I wait till after we've gone through the agenda?
Why don't you can throw that into old business, right? It's an ongoing item.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I have is that I had done some research and about allowing residents to register their email on the website in a special app that would then, I don't know if you guys recall this, that then would say, I want to know anytime somebody talks about the facility, notify me about that so I can go look. And so now that Barbara is our assistant, seems to be fully oriented, stable, and is going to continue in that position, we have someone that could, because it's very important, as you know, and how you set that document up in the system for it to be able to trigger on. So it has some specific formatting, and she seems to be willing to take that task on. So I wanted to make sure with the mayor that if they want to go through with that's in the budget for next year, and that we actually proceed with that as part of communications. And that's all I have.
Excuse me, that sounds wonderful.
Do we have an estimated cost of implementing that sort of system? Would be
600. It's 600. It's 600 a year from the website. It's a website app, so it's $600 a year for that.
And is it
$60? Well, $600 will give you this cool thing.
Yeah.
It's just another way to communicate. When I put in the newsletter a couple months ago that did anybody have any ideas about communication, I actually got 2 responses.
Okay.
And one of them was suggesting this very program. So I thought that was encouraging. Anyway, it's just another methodology another way to be able to communicate, multiple opportunities being given. So.
And what's the name of that program again, just so I can go back and read about it on my own on the side?
It's called an email opt-in or email notification or something like that. It starts with the word email though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll find it on their website.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think, and then Barb also has the documentation as well. I have it. She has it. If you search their website, you might be able to find it, though there's so much on there, so many options, it's confusing sometimes. Okay, and then as far as I just want to mention, I know the directory isn't, the village directory is an MPCA thing, but if there's a lot of holiday chatter on the Facebook right now, but I'm going to start posting again soon, ability for residents to advertise for $5, 2 lines on, gonna have a couple pages of advertising or yellow pages, FYI. And then also the MPCA officers agreed that it would be a nice idea to put it out there for our next cover for the directory to take submissions from the residents for the cover. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So that's communication FYI.
Are you guys coming up with a new map for the middle of the directory?
No, I like that map, Tony, and I designed it. And if anybody has a better design or idea,
Oh, well, maybe I'm thinking
willing to look at it,
one.
but you know, that's as far as that goes.
I may not have seen the newest directory.
You probably didn't. Yeah, it's on the back.
What I was getting at, it's got the new development in it.
Absolutely, Tony.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it then. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, that gets us to legislation. Councilperson Berger. You are muted.
Thank you. Unfortunately, looking at the packet we got sent for today, it just has the home thing essentially. Does that make sense? It has the agenda sheet, but not the detailed actual legislation.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that came out was the agendas. Yeah, it doesn't have.
Yeah.
Well, we have a long. It was on something I looked at. We have a long list of.
Well, it has the titles. It doesn't have the actual legislation, so I'm going to have to probably lean some on Mayor Hughes here. So we're starting out with 16/20/21. Updating the employee handbook and declaring an emergency. Third reading, intent to pass as an emergency. Is that the holiday changes and insurance?
I'm pulling. Sorry.
Excuse me.
Yes, that is the 4 hour if you work 10 hours or more. So yes, and adding Juneteenth. That was the two adjustments on that.
All right, anyone have any, now's the time for us to talk about it.
I would like to thank Mayor Hughes for, I believe it was her final decision to add the 4 hours instead of 3 on. It's a nice little touch for the workers in our village. I'm sure they're appreciative.
I'm still trying to recognize you, so.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, you threw me for a loop when you were sitting there earlier.
Jesse, when he first logged on, I was like, why does Jesse say David McNamara here? That's really weird.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because that was my first initial look. Like, how did he get in? Mine was, how did he get in here? Because mine's not showing David's name on it. So I was like, is that because it's kind of dark? So, okay.
Yeah, my scrubs are dark too. I don't know, some kids with cancer, they thought they could use my hair more than I could. So I just let them have it.
That's fine.
All right, moving on then. 17/20/21, an ordinance to make appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Minerva Park. Year ending December 31st, etc. Third reading. This is our end of the year balance and reckoning, correct?
This is the budget thing.
Oh, okay. This is the actual
annual
budget for next year.
Yep.
I'm actually pulling it.
Oh yeah, I see the December. I look at the date now, and that makes more sense. Ending in 2022. Anyone with any questions or concerns with the budget? Anyone wanna?
That was discussed also in the finance very briefly. I believe it was asked if there were any adjustments since the last time, and all that. So I know that they talked about that again.
Do any of the old packets, does the last month's packet have the budget in it?
Yeah, it has it.
Okay.
And there was the changes.
11/15.
Yeah, and the changes were that there was another small amount, I think 7,500 set aside for pool contingency, right? Like, so if there were new issues at the pool, we don't have to go and reappropriate to replace a pump or something like that. And that's the only change I recall since the last.
Scary things we did talk about at finance was our pool is past the normal life expectancy of a pool. And now, you know, there's Ford Escorts from 1991 still rolling down the streets that have no business driving, but if that analogy made any sense.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Councilperson Berger's trying to say is the other thing we talked about, and I had not yet had coffee. It was just delivered to me now. When I gave my finance committee report, we did talk about the pool and planning for replacement. So part of the discussion was creating a fund and beginning to set aside money for future pool replacement.
I would be very much in favor of that, being proactive instead of reactive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
pool's a good 60 years old, and you know, you don't think about it, but those things don't last forever.
Right.
It's rotting away.
Slowly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, not so slowly in parts is the problem.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So that is that depressing bit of news. All right, 18/2021, healthcare benefits for employees and the mayor, and authorizing the purchase of health insurance and declaring an emergency. Third reading, intent to pass, so it can be ready and up and going by January, I assume.
Yes, and then the only thing I'll give you as an update on that is Jesse is doing one more final review of everything, and in the event that it needs to be amended, we will work on trying to get that done Monday. And then if it does need to be, because we added the part-time, so I'm strictly referring to that. So if there is any adjustments that need to be made, those will be made before Tuesday, or we would just adjust it Tuesday night. So we are doing one more final review. We've done it several times with them, but again, they're just trying to dot their I's and cross their T's with everything.
And
so
Jesse's
posted if there are any adjustments.
And Jesse's not going to be there, right? Because he's got a conflict on Tuesday.
I believe he is not going to be there, so he would get that to myself some point time tomorrow or Tuesday. But I know that they're fine. There was one potential thing that they wanted. They've already checked once, and they're just rechecking it.
Yeah. If we could it would be great if we could get some sort of statement from him.
Perfect.
Saying, yep, this has been reviewed and we believe this meets all of the standards necessary for legality.
I'll email him that right now, regardless if it is okay to let us know.
I know that that's a question that has come up more than once. And so just having it in words, right, to know that that's been reviewed in our legal counsel's opinion, then that we can rely on.
Okay, and I'll only do that obviously if he's not going to be there. So I'm emailing him right now just so we have that final answer.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be good to have either way, but more important, critical if he's not going to be there.
All right, anyone with any issues or anything they want to talk or ask about the insurance? I seem to recall the insurance did not go up too terribly much.
Correct. If it's less than a certain percentage, which I think it's 4%, and actually, well, I can tell you, if it doesn't go up more than a certain percentage, then we don't have to do anything additional, which is, of course, I'm actually looking at it, but of course I probably won't be able to find it that fast.
I thought it went up more than that.
10%. As long as it doesn't increase by, as long as it's less than 10%.
Isn't there a time? I think there's a time frame on that too. It has to come back every X many years, whether or not it goes up more than that. And then if it goes up more than that.
Correct. It's only like the one you guys are passing right now is for 2022 and 2023.
Yep.
As long as the premium is less than 10% increase.
Right. So we wouldn't have to see this in 2023.
Correct.
For 2023, unless it goes up more than 10%.
You know, sometimes it can, although I keep an eye on it for various reasons. And I know at least my school districts, the increases have been pretty tame over the past few years, knock wood. All right, 19/2021, ordinance updating the wage and salary ranges, the number of employees and positions for the Village of Minerva Park. I know, some of the things on that is we raised the bottom level a little bit without necessarily touching the ceiling on most of our waged employees. Anyone with any questions, debate, explanations they need for that? Okay, then I'll move on. 2020 Ordinance 2020-21, supplemental appropriations for the current expenses of the village and Minerva Park, third reading. This is our squaring of the budget and actual expenses for this year, right?
Correct. And this is the one I wish I could get on here and give to you. There's a grant thing on there that we had to open up that line. I believe that one was on there the last time. I will make sure that this gets out to you guys first thing Monday. I don't know why it's not in there. Let me make sure it's not on this one. I'm looking at the other one.
There's a PEP safety grant.
Okay, so that one was on there.
For $1,000.
Yeah, that was opening up that line. I will let me see if I can get that later today and see if there has been any adjustments. That may have been the adjustment. Okay, because that's the TIF. Income Tax Administration. That may have actually been it. So there may not have been any adjustments to it since then. I was thinking there was, but maybe I'm wrong. If there has been, I will get that out as soon as possible. And with an explanation of what it is.
All right, 2021-36 is approval of the rules of council for next year.
I do have a comment about that from more than one citizen, if there is time.
Oh yeah, now's the time. That's what this is. That's what this is for.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I have received more than one email or more than one contact about the removal of the Pledge of Allegiance. Apparently that's not going over well in certain sections of the community. Again, I understand both sides of the argument. I understand that the perception in the modern day has changed. I understand that not everybody holds to that belief, but I gave the residents my word that I would do my due diligence and address their concerns to the council as a whole. I will say I am in favor of the increased communication time with residents, though. So that is a plus I'm in favor of, but I just wanted to do my due diligence and report to the council as a whole that there are some people who are rather unhappy with the proposed change and would prefer that the pledge be included or be brought up before the new council. So that is
what I mean. I don't want to sound stupid here, but what's their objection to it being taken out?
The objection to it being taken out, from my understanding, is a lack of patriotism or a lack of tradition, possibly. And I can understand the sides of the argument. I mean, when I was in Scouts, we would do the Pledge of Allegiance at every meeting. We would do, big. When I worked at the Scout camps, we'd have big flag ceremonies, and I understand what that means to a lot of people. However, that's the impression that I believe people would miss.
I'm a traditionalist, but I also, I don't know to say it's outdated. I don't know how to explain, saying I don't think we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. Saying it's outdated, I don't know how to express my thoughts on this, except for saying I think it's stupid to do it. It's the only word I can come up with. I understand the symbol of patriotism that it demonstrates, but I mean,
well, yes, and I believe the argument from the more modern perception is that patriotism is an action. It is a continual act of working to improve one's nation rather than simply repeating a pledge or an oath, or a
right, yeah.
or invoking the blessing of a deity, whereas the population is rapidly diversifying in religious adherence and religious belief. So again, I understand the frustration And it's not a hill I would particularly die on. I will, be in favor of. I'm in favor of the rule change as it increases resident inclusion in the meetings. But I just wanted to be sure that when I gave my word to those residents, that I would address their concerns, that I will do so.
Well done.
Well, I can, do we want to talk? Do we want to try to strike a compromise on this? This might just be terrible because something as easy as like this gets messed up and throws everyone off. Well, do we want to say the pledge at the first meeting of every month, but not at every meeting?
That's all we do now, isn't it?
No, we do it at every meeting. I'm in an elementary school, so we say the pledge every morning, but I know a lot of high schools, in the interest of saving time, only do it on Friday, or at least I've been at high schools that did that the morning announcements, they want to get them done so people can start class. And then on Friday, they have the longer full announcements and they do the pledge and everything.
That sounds like a good compromise.
We just don't do it every time.
Yeah, the issue that would be a fine compromise to myself, but I know that there are members of the council and members of the community that have differing religious beliefs, and I just want to make sure that their opinions would be included as well.
Well, that comes into the part of the thing that says one nation under God.
Yes, yeah. In fact, it's interesting. Historically, this is just a historical fact. The original Pledge of Allegiance did not include the phrase under God. It was originally one nation indivisible. That was changed, I forget the exact date, but between the 1930s and the 1950s during the Red Scares against the godless communists. So the original pledge is actually originally a secular statement, but again, that's just a historical rabbit hole.
Yeah. It was also originally a marketing tool, right? It was a guy who had flags and said, how do I get people to buy more flags? We'll make it so they say this thing every day. And he spread this idea of a Pledge of Allegiance.
That is actually a flag. That is a very American bit of history, isn't it?
Super American bit of history.
Well, all those 10 commandments outside of courthouses were because the studio put them there when they were hyping
the 10 Commandments.
What's his name?
Cecil B. DeMille.
No, I'm thinking of the actor who played Moses in that. Charlton Heston.
Well, kind of similar to all those statues to the Confederate traitors and terrorists in the Deep South and Plains and Midwestern states too were set up by the United Daughters of the Confederacy. They were marketing. Well, but that's again, we're getting way off topic there.
Yeah.
But if we're going to get off topic, we also have to realize that Santa Claus and Rudolph are creations of department stores trying to sell things. So we'll move on to that. But going back to my suggestion, what do we think about just doing it at the first meeting of the month? We can keep it in for the people who like it, but not have it at every meeting.
Well, now that we've talked about it a little bit, I think we just ought to take it completely out.
I am still of the opinion that it would stay out.
I will not wreck the vote for the council rules over this, although I will say that we're going to have some upset people.
In that regard, we can change just the Pledge of Allegiance part if that were, we don't have to throw the whole change out just for this one thing. We can line item that around. So if you do feel strongly, and we can continue that discussion. I'm putting my hand up and saying I would rather it be out.
And David, I'm just throwing a wrench in the whole thing. You have 3 new council people coming in January. So if it does get removed, you guys can have that discussion and get it put back in. If this council feels strongly to get rid of it, the next council feels strongly to keep it. Those are also things that can happen.
This isn't a big enough thing that we can't decide we're going to put it on each agenda, even if it's not explicitly stated in the rules of council.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not gonna be, try to sink the vote over this. I just wanted to do my due diligence for the people who I represent. Also, the meeting's on the 14th, correct?
The Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, the 14th. I was recently changed to day shift, and I don't believe I'll be able to attend the first half of that. I won't get off until like 7:23 at the very earliest. So I could be at the meeting by like 7:30, 7:40ish. Yeah, again, my
should
schedule.
be there to vote.
I will get there as fast as I possibly can.
On the upside, it doesn't look, the only one that we are waiving readings is the very last one. The one that we haven't gotten to yet. So that would be the only one that we need to make sure that we have at least 5 to be able to waive readings.
Yes,
and honestly, that's one of those that's not going to stop Village from running. So.
Okay.
Yeah, because speaking of that one, we're on to that one, 2021-37, confirming the appointment of Michael Fout as a full-time police officer, declaring him. This is, so, and I assume this is just going to be our new way we do things and the way we should have been doing them.
Correct.
This is just affirming that, yes, we did hire someone. This is not the end of his probation. This is not his official blah, blah, blah. This is just council saying, yes, this person was hired and is working for the police department, and we've made it official, and it starts right away.
If there were, and the quick version behind that is, if there were an issue before it was actually passed, it's kind of an issue because, we've hired him, but yet he's not been appointed by there's just that lingering time period in which, where it was requested that we go ahead and just get these done and get them done. Pass them as an emergency.
Yeah. So we can see that as being just what's going to happen from here on in. Right?
It's actually the way that it was always done. It was requested a couple months ago that what's the big deal, or not a couple months ago, but a year ago, what's the big deal? And I guess we really didn't ask the attorney. We just kind of thought, it's not a big deal. And the attorney goes, no, we should probably be doing this the right way. So that's why it was always done that way before.
Awesome. So we're just getting back to what we should have been doing. That's great.
Yes. Correct.
That looks to be legislative since we had this meeting. This work session so close to the meeting, I did not put a legislative meeting on for Tuesday. So if anyone's wondering why there's no legislative committee meeting in December, it's because I knew this work session was happening right before the meeting and there wasn't really a
nothing pressing
reason to, yeah.
Works for me. I did want to circle back on the rules of council. So did we agree to move forward with the rules as they are, or did we want to take a straw poll quickly to see if we wanted to make a change regarding a new change regarding the Pledge of Allegiance, or are we okay?
Well, Brian and I both wanted out.
Yeah. And
David didn't seem to have much of an issue. I put up a compromise, but obviously are okay with not having it because part of my compromise was not having it at every meeting. So I'm okay with it.
All right. And I think Diane was already on record as saying she would prefer to have it. So, but that still puts us at a 3.5 to 1. So I think we will move forward with it as it is. Okay, then that brings us around to old business. And Diane, you had begun to make an ask for content for the newsletter. If you want to bring that question back around. You're on mute again.
All right. So does this group have any other suggestions for content for the newsletter for January?
So I think that once we have some sort of information from the financial advisors, we should begin getting that information out early and often, but I don't have a timeline on when and what to expect. But that would be my first most important thing that we need to begin communicating.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, in January, I know that now our newsletter is kind of small, but in January, little 1-paragraph introductions of either all the new or all the council people would probably be nice, right? This is your council, and everybody kind of provides you a 3 to 5 sentence paragraph of who they are and why the heck they raised their hand.
I'd like to hear the answer to that.
They have, you know, obviously for the election, they gave me some material, but
Yeah.
we could recycle that at their option, or they could write something new.
Right.
Okay, so we'll do that. All right.
I think those are my 2 off the top of my head ideas.
Okay.
Diane, are you going to be doing this next year? Or
Yeah, well, you know, the newsletter is managed by the MPCA, but the material from the village is normally handed along. I've been helping out with content since I've been on council. I agreed to continue to help with content. I can listen to your work session and do the council corner. And until or unless one of the new council members would like to do some writing. So I'll bridge it, and then if necessary, I'll continue it, but just so that we're getting the word out about what council is thinking about. And of course, anytime anyone wants to, you know, review that before it goes to print, I don't think I'll go crazy. I've had you guys giving me no feedback on the last 3 ones that I did, 3 or 4 that I've done. So however you want to proceed with that, but for January, I think that's what we'll do. I'll write the usual, what we talked about in the work session, et cetera, et cetera. Get the get the intro to council members in. Mayor's report will be on top, and there won't be there's not, again, it's just 1 page. There's not a whole lot of room, but there's probably, obviously we're not having any food trucks, I guess, but are we going to do food trucks through the winter?
We just don't do as many. I've been just trying to keep it 1, 2 a month, just because, you know, I don't want their sales to be horrible because it's so cold or raining or whatever, and people don't go. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's still, I believe there are some for January, February, so I'll make sure that we get those.
All right, and the police report, et cetera. If anybody thinks about anything else, there's a week here to think about that, and we can get it in. Okay.
Thanks, Diane. If I had any input, you'd hear about it. So I'd say you haven't heard anything, so you're doing a great job.
Okay.
Your efforts are well appreciated.
And then the other thing is the rules of council. There was an edited version that was passed out, as you know. I didn't get any feedback on that. So I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Is it okay, or that people not just look at it, or should we?
I remember reviewing it and don't recall having any issues.
Because I need to get the mayor an unedited, unmarked version. So
yeah,
I need to take the highlights out.
The edited version is currently what is in the packet right now. So She had asked me, am I just supposed to leave the edited version? And I told her at this point in time, yes, because that's what we have. So and then she was just assuming she was going to fix it with the changes. So if you want to get that to her to re-add into the packet on some point in time, Monday or early Tuesday morning, so she can get it uploaded to the website, I'll just tell her to expect it.
Okay, I think I'll try to do that. And the main reason I want to have a clean copy is because it needs to be posted on the website. Yep. That's where I'm coming from. So.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, any other old business?
Is this my chance to talk about
what do you got?
The form, or whatever you want to call it, that do I need a permit for that? That I've just recently seen the most updated version of it. Eric, are you there?
Okay, I'm going to stop you really fast if I could. And let's move on with this.
I am
Tony,
here.
We had a really long discussion about this.
Who put this together?
Am I muted? Okay.
No, you're not
Tony,
muted.
we had a really long discussion about this a couple weeks ago, and I looked at you and I said, if you still have issues with this, which is the current one, this is about 2 or 3 months ago, I said, please get those to me, what your issues are, and we would see what we could do to get it adjusted, because you're the one that, and again, I'm saying this extremely nicely, but you have continually brought this up. So I wish I could review exactly what my wording was, but we asked you a couple months ago to get it in writing, what you believe we need a permit for, what you believe we don't need a permit for, and we could adjust that to what we have. And I've not seen any adjustments to it. So now I feel like we're going back to the same conversation that we had with, you know, a current complaint with no solution. So it's, we continue to talk about them in these meetings, but if you would just do the document, I mean, it would be helpful, because we do hear you. Like, I understand exactly what you're saying, but it's like it gets lost in translation somewhere. So
well,
if you could put it together and send it, it would be amazing.
The thing is that as long as Eric's involved in this, we're never going to get
Eric's not involved in it right now. It is you and me. I've asked
you to get it. Who put that letter together? The one that's posted, you know, that was updated September.
Code enforcement officer, not Eric. The code enforcement officer.
Okay, so
we all spoke about it.
We all spoke about it.
Yeah, we all talked about it.
It is the code enforcement officer.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Doing his job as he's asked for.
Say that again.
He's doing his job as he's asked. I would like to jump back to the complaint on Facebook, because it was most interesting to us. We talked about it yesterday when I got in the office. I want to point out that the woman that posted that actually came in, spoke to Leah. Leah gave her my info. And instead of calling me direct, and I would have answered her very much like Brady answered her. Okay. He was kind enough to get up there, because we don't use Facebook to answer questions. She didn't call, she just posted it. And of course, Facebook is the medal winning contest of the internet to see who's got the best answer, I guess. The fact is that I would have simply told her, hey, I would have asked her what she's doing. And she said, oh, I just need to get a repair. Well, just call your HVAC company, because the HVAC company is one, the same as Brady said, will simply, if it's a massive job where they're redoing electric and ducts, which is unusual, right? They would have gotten their permits. That's simple. And that's not us. That's a building department issue. But if it's just a repair, it's a very simple answer. Just call your HVAC company, right? We don't require a permit for that. So we don't require a permit for the interior stuff. So, you know, she was given info. She chose to go to Facebook. That's how that happened.
Well, it doesn't change the fact that this form that says, do I need a permit for this, is inaccurate. Okay.
Actually, would go back to what Brady wrote, because he told you it's A, B, or C. You're not reading it right. That's part of the problem with why you're always complaining about it. You're not reading it. I would suggest you go back and read it carefully. Look at Brady's comment. He pointed out to you exactly, I think, what your issue is. Read the Facebook comment that Brady wrote to you on A, B, or C, right?
What are you talking? I didn't understand.
The form has different options as to what applies. Read the form in full. Okay. We're always up for redoing the form, but quite frankly, you are the only one who complains to us regularly, because I think it comes down to that you don't understand it.
No, this is where you're wrong, Eric. Okay, Brian, this is what you need to look up. Okay, this is my next question, Brian. Code 1442.01. This is part of the building code that describes how you go about getting a building permit. And if you look under do I need a permit for this? It says under furnace, it says, no, you do not need one from Minerva Park. Yes, you need one from Franklin County.
Yeah, they're assuming a new install on that one. Now we can add a little language that says, if you're just getting repair, call your HVAC company. They'll set you straight, right? Because buildings, they'll handle it for any major duct work, any major change in duct work. If you're moving the furnace, which people do, you do redoing electric, you do need to be inspected. You do need to get a permit from the building department.
But you're not describing the process that you go about getting a building permit correctly. This is my issue. That
how would you like it?
Don't stop.
How would you like it described?
What? Say that again.
How would you like it described? Why don't you enlighten us to what you would want it to say?
Okay, here's the issue. We've created this property improvement permit. This is the thing that, Brian, you need to address. Where in the world does it say, this is question number one, where does it say you need to get a property improvement permit? Okay. Now, this is where the confusion comes in. If you would have read the what I had commented on in the post about the furnace is that you have to get zoning approval. And the way it's described on Franklin County's website is the first step to getting a building permit is to get a letter of zoning compliance. That's the way it's described by Franklin County. Again, I'm going to repeat that. All building permits require a letter of zoning approval from the jurisdiction.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Eric, don't interrupt me. Okay, we do not do it that way. Okay, there is no mention in any of the village, paperwork on, do I need a permit for that, to describe getting a letter of zoning approval. And this is where code, Brian, 1442.01 comes into play, is that every single building permit, the plans for that permit are to be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. This hasn't been done since we started doing the new development. We never went through the process of taking the responsibility away from planning and zoning to approve all building permit applications.
We did.
No, okay, stop, Eric. Do not interrupt me. Okay, there's question number 3. Brian,
okay.
Hold on a second.
If I may, I'm just going to summarize where we're at here, right? What I will do is we can take 1442.01 to a legislative committee meeting to review, to make certain that it's clear. And if it needs to be amended or updated, we can do that through legislative committee. The other thing I've heard is that you have strong concern with the "do I need a permit" document that is available on our website. And what I have heard is that those that were involved in the assemblage of that document believe it is adequate and accurate and adequate. Any changes that you feel need made, if you could draft those changes and supply them to the mayor so that they can be reviewed and incorporated.
This is what infuriates me, okay, is that you guys keep telling me that this is how it has to be done. Tony, if you want to fix the problem, or if the problem needs going to get fixed, you're the one that has to fix it. We hired the code enforcement officer and Eric to advise us how to go about. Don't interrupt, Brian.
Go ahead.
We hired those 2 people to inform us how to enforce our code. And neither one of them, Eric or our code enforcement officer, understands it. Now, if you guys want to get somewhere with this.
And now I'm going to pause you right there.
Can I finish?
Tony, now I'm going to pause you right there. Okay, because both of those people have reviewed this document and believe it to be adequate and accurate. Now, you are of a difference of opinion, right? So what you need to do is draft your difference of opinion so that it can be reviewed and incorporated.
Correct. The law director will also look at any suggestion.
We have a meeting with me, Eric, and the code enforcement officer. Instead of having me draft everything and then go through this fight, we need to have a meeting of the minds.
No, that's up to the mayor, but I can tell you that you have been nothing but a harasser of staff since you started 4 years ago. You drove out 2 zoning officers, and I personally will not sit with you unless the mayor's in that meeting and there's an officer nearby. So you are very much a bully in these meetings, and you are not a nice person, period.
Well, if you guys would start to listen, because this, listen to me, Brian, this letter or the form that says, do I need a permit for this, demonstrates how inadequate our advice that we're getting from Eric and the code enforcement officer. All you have to do, like I said, where does it say anywhere that we need to get a letter of zoning, that the people have to get a letter of zoning compliance from the village before they get a building permit? This comes from the language from the Franklin County's website.
So
it says at the very top of that. You know
okay,
what, guys?
I'm going to stop everybody on.
You can work with me.
I'm going to talk for about 30 seconds here. We have had this conversation. We have gone through this. We had the form in front of us. We went through it. You had issues with it the last time we went through it. Myself and Brian, and I don't want to say Brian, but I'm pretty sure it was Brian, maybe it was Mark. We had asked for, if you still have problems with it, adjust it. We had adjusted the things that we went through this meeting. That meeting was not very long ago, so I'm not really sure why we are having this exact same conversation. However, I will agree with Eric. We are not sitting down and having a council person review. We are not doing it. Eric is pretty accurate in his statement that he just made. If you want to adjust this document, I am more than willing to have you send it over. We will review it. We will also review it with Franklin County. We can bring Franklin County in which Eric, myself, we have done. So we believe that this form is about as good as, there are still going to be questions. It's still a form. Staff is able to answer those questions. As Eric just advised, a Facebook post does not equate to exactly what happened. So yes, when Leah answers the door, Leah is not able to answer the exact questions about a permit. She directed that person to the correct person. They chose to go to Facebook. We cannot control that. So all I'm going to do is, I would like to move forward, Brian. We have beat this with a dead horse for 3 years. We really beat it with a dead horse a couple months ago and asked for these changes in writing. If anybody would like to see changes in writing, I will bring them to the code enforcement officer, Franklin County, and Eric and I will all meet together and make sure that this form could be even better. We're always looking to make sure that it's better, but at this point, I am not going to talk about this form anymore in this meeting. So I would like to move on, and if you guys would like to go back,
this is ridiculous.
Talk about it later.
For you to tell me what you're going to talk about, what you're not.
Okay, it is 9:15, and I do believe that there's other things that people would like to talk about. And at the end, if you guys would like to go back and address it, but I don't want to run out of time for the important other important things, because this has been beat. Yeah. To the point I can't
even. Tony, David is trying to say something.
Yeah, can somebody else speak?
For my own homework, to read this, I'm looking through subsection 1442 of our code. Which I guess subsection are we talking about? I'm looking at
01.
01.
01.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the submittal of plan and specifications of planning and zoning. Okay. Yeah, just for my own homework.
Black and white.
Yeah, I'm just looking through it right now. I just wanted to have my eyes on the code as it's written before I form an opinion on it. I know I looked at it a while back, but I know things change. So
if I could just summarize, Brian, if you would look into the one, like I said, question is, where does it say you need to get a property improvement permit? That's the crux of the issue.
Okay, we'll look into that. Any other old business? Going once, going twice.
Where are we at with the community building plan, or the exterior submittals or whatever?
We should get those here this upcoming week, so we'll get those out to everybody.
Hopefully Monday.
And I don't know if you know the answer to this. Where are we at with the fence appeal?
Jesse, who's not here to speak on this, but did send me an email, is going to has arranged for both attorneys have come to an agreement, because the permit holder got a new attorney. Everybody's in agreement. It'll be in January, so we'll be sending out notices for that.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Any new business? All right. Last chance. Anyone going?
We are. We're doing the big swear-in on the first meeting in January, correct?
So the first meeting in January is going to be the swearing in, because it needs to be done before we actually move forward. One of the council members will actually not be in attendance on that particular meeting. They already have a prior event scheduled, so they will not be at that first one. So we will do the swearing in for that last council meeting on the next one.
Okay, so what's the date for that again? My parents want to come and take pictures. I just want to
you're good.
So my ask actually is, we may want to have a special meeting for it. Only in that, if crisis befell us between the first of the month and whatever, we would not have the necessary number of council people to pass any kind of legislation at all. right? So if we need an emergency legislation, we wouldn't be able to. So I would suggest that we try to do something like the 3rd or the 4th, just as a swearing in.
Perfect. Let me shoot an email out to find out when this person is actually not going to be here and when they will be here. And if that's the case, then what we could do is, again, we could swear everybody in except for that one person and then do that one person later. Yeah. So I don't think we would have an issue with David. David, correct me if I'm wrong, or the other two. I'm pretty sure we could probably get them in pretty quick. But I know one of them does have a prior engagement that is a little bit of I don't want to say lengthy, but a little lengthy, and I'm not sure what day that starts. So if we could do that, maybe that would be, I'll shoot an email and let you guys know.
That would be my ask.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my parents just want to, you know, come down and, you know, get a picture or two.
There's nothing wrong with that. The wife was all excited when I got sworn in for some reason.
David, is there any day, just because you're here, is there any day like the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th that you can or cannot do? Like at a sometimes 6, 7, 8 o'clock, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so I'm on my iPad right now. I am mobile. Let me head upstairs to my schedule. Like I said, I've just switched to days. However, my schedule should remain grossly the same.
Welcome to the daily.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I am busy on the 2nd, 6th, and 7th. So I should be free January 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 8th of this next schedule period.
Perfect.
And thank you for the welcome, Brian. I am wondering what it's going to be like to have a halfway normal life for the first time in over 4 years. So
your vitamin D.
Monday the 3rd seemed to be. It's like Monday the 3rd would be a time to schedule that short, you know, swearing in ceremony. Maybe get a tin of biscuits. Bunch.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Monday the 3rd. I can shoot my folks a text. Yeah, I'll shoot my folks a text that that's the tentative date. I am sorry for wasting official business minutes on coordinating a family get-together, but I suppose it is tangentially related.
It's okay.
And Brian's not totally wrong about having to swear people in so they're there. Absolutely. I mean, if there was an emergency, we could convene council and the first order of business would be to swear everyone in, and then we could go on with it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Feels a little more secure having them sworn in beforehand. But that's just me. Mayor, if you just want to confirm when you get responses from everybody, is there anything else anybody needs to call out today or address today and now? All right, well then, if that's the case, oh yes,
I see Diane's hand.
Diane's raising a hand. She's muted. She was probably talking and I didn't hear because of the mute.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sorry. I just want, because just regarding the leaf collection, as a person that has leaves, I think they did I think really it's a matter of what kind of quality you want for the village. I think that they did a semi-adequate job, I think, with coaching and a better requirement on the bid next year. They could probably step it up if they wanted to bid on it again. But certainly, I would agree that it was a half-hearted, half-baked effort. But again, they're leaves. It's not trash, and you know they will decompose eventually. But you know, I modified my behavior and how I did my raking and all that yard work based on the fact that I didn't think they were coming back. So, and I think other people have done the same. So that's my 2 cents on that one, and then I won't bring it up in the meeting on Tuesday. I just, you know, for next year.
I think it went well for his first year, and I'll say the guy was out in the rain. I mean, I'll give him that much. He was,
yeah.
I think the only thing I'm going to say is
he just missed a lot. He missed a lot. He didn't want to stop his truck. He wanted to keep it going no matter what. So people were right. The people on Facebook were right. I saw the same things. He got the strip in the middle, but he, you know, McKinney had 2 people raking. So they raked all the leaves, not the ones that happen to funnel in the strip, you know, as he's rolling along. If they missed anything, they missed it. And they just kept going. So it's not, like I said, it wasn't terrible, but it certainly wasn't the standard that the people have been used to.
And I know I had a small pile that they came and took 2 days ago, and they had someone out there and he was raking them and they got pretty much all of them. I mean,
yeah, I know it was.
So there might have been some days where someone called off. I mean, I'm going to kind of go with Tony on this one, or whoever said it. I think Diane, you were saying too, for their first time out, they did a job that's good enough that I think we could coach them up. And then it'll just, if they bid next year and if they're still cheaper, it'd probably be hard to give it to someone who costs more, because I think they did an adequate job, I guess is what I'm saying.
The thing I'm going to say is mine was done great. They don't know where I live, just being honest. So they didn't do it just for me. I've watched my neighbors. All of theirs seem to be done. Jordan Road definitely had a crap ton of leaves. I've not seen issues, problems. I walk obviously all the time. I think, one of the issues that there was, and I'm not on the other street, so I don't know. One of the things that may have potentially backfired was the whole Wednesday thing, which I actually do like, but then it falls over to Thursday. So the days that it was busy, when he didn't get them done Wednesday, everybody's, pounding on the community building door going, oh, he skipped my street. He hasn't been here in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say people are exaggerating or lying or whatever, but I do drive through the village and I didn't see anything sitting anywhere for 3 weeks. But maybe I missed it too. I'm not going to say they did or didn't, but we had people on certain streets saying he's not been here yet. He's not been here yet. But that's because he was there Thursday morning at 8 a.m. because it did make it on Wednesday. So there may have been a little bit of issue with that, he would show up Thursday or late Thursday and they were expecting it to be done Wednesday. I think, again, Barb did a pretty phenomenal job keeping people in the loop, letting them know when he was in the village and all of that. So, but, as soon as she would post that, the next post would be, is the leaf guy in the village? So again, not everybody knows how to use Facebook and go back and search posts. So I would agree. I think he's done I think he's done a great job. I think some of the complaints may have been triggered for other reasons. And that is what it is.
I went through the village, when he was doing pickups, and I think he did an all right job. He may not
I would agree. I didn't see piles like people were saying that were there for 3 weeks. I didn't see it, that he skipped their house for 3 weeks. So I didn't witness it, but I don't know.
My school's in a pretty nice neighborhood of Westerville, and I drive around the neighborhood some. And boy, their leaf pickup isn't as good as ours.
I know.
I've seen the same piles of leaves up in some pretty big streets up in Westerville, like South Hempstead or North Hempstead, which is a reasonably big artery and goes through some nice houses. And I've looked at the same pile of leaves literally for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like for actual, they still haven't gotten that. Wow. Right. And maybe not, and maybe they have gotten it, and I'm being a jerk because maybe they've gotten it because that area is also at least, if not more, wooded than our neighborhood. So that might be, no, they got it. That's the family's third pile in 2 weeks. There just keeps being more piles. It's not the same pile. There's more piles, but yeah.
Well, I would say the only thing he hasn't done right is, like I said, the middle, and he probably didn't really, wasn't in there, but he should have did a middle of the month gutter cleaning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it'll kill you too, because I drive through those Westerville streets. Everyone puts their piles, because they have really wide, like Hempstead's a really wide road. Yeah. Everyone puts their piles on the road.
Cool.
In the gutter, so it can all go down to the drains.
Perfect.
Which I'm sure makes a much easier pickup for the leaf people, but yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so
that's my shade at Westerville.
All right, then I think that brings us to the end. I am gonna say that we move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, everybody get out of here. Enjoy your day.
Bye, guys.
See ya.